I'm gonna put up my walk quarantine bandana and thank everybody so much for coming. We really appreciate you being here tonight. And because I'm quarantined all by myself, I'm gonna go ahead and be safe and take this down so everybody can hear me. So thank you so much for attending tonight's virtual fundraising webinar. We are really excited to help you host a virtual fundraising event and have it be just as successful as when we were able to fraternize as humans in one place all together, like for real. So I'm really excited to be here. My name is Katie Luce. I am the walk manager for Bangor, Fort Kent, and Waterville, Maine. And I'm excited to be hosting tonight's webinar with some colleagues from Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and I think Madison is on here tonight too. She's from Vermont. So we got like a whole New England thing going on tonight. So just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. If everybody could go ahead and please mute your lines, that will help minimize background noise for anyone that has perhaps some barking dogs or such. Or if you get really excited, like somebody we all know, and you squeal, please mute your lines. Maria is also going to be monitoring our chat function tonight. So if you have a question or a comment or some cheerleading you'd like to do, please feel free to put that in the chat and Maria will be right there for you. And then we're also going to be recording tonight's webinar to be able to send a copy to everyone that is here tonight so that you can keep these resources on hand as your ideas develop and you get closer to reaching your goals. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name's Katie Luce. I'm from Maine, and one of the basic things about virtual fundraising is that the primary fundraising types, regardless of whether we do it online or we do it in person, are pretty much the same. Peer-to-peer fundraising, whether it's a social media campaign to promote your event, or a personal letter or email to just explain what your story is and tell people why you walk. Why do you support the cause and support an end to Alzheimer's? Those are some of the most powerful ways that you can really connect with people and get them to be excited about anything else that you do in terms of supporting the cause. The other things you can do are obviously events and activities, earning money and fundraising through entry fees, getting a donation for goods or services. For example, I know somebody's going to be talking about some face masks that have been helping to raise money for Alzheimer's and also keeping people safe during this COVID craziness. So it's a win-win. And then, of course, there are the add-ons for any of the events that you do, whether it's a silent auction, a percent of sales, perhaps it's, the most votes of it. These ladies are going to give you all kinds of really good ideas. So I'm going to leave that piece to them. But the other thing that I'm really excited to tell you about that is going to be a basic fundamental thing about fundraising virtually with the Alzheimer's Association. And that's a connection to a local virtual coach. So this is going to be somebody that lives in your area, that walks with you traditionally on walk day, and is also going to be there to help you personalize your fundraiser to fit your network and to fit your needs and to fit your goals and help you overcome these challenges, really customize how we're going to overcome these, because we know this isn't easy. We know that if you are someone who has been working from home, you are probably getting as burnt out on screens as we are, hence all of the craziness and the tutus and all of the things that we are doing to keep our cups filled full of effervescence. So without further ado, I want to be able to kick it over to my friend Melissa Shercliffe, who is the walk manager for the Greater Boston Walk, to really get into some of the meat on how to turn your fundraising virtual.
Thank you, Katie. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. As Katie mentioned, I'm Melissa Shercliffe. I'm the Senior Manager for the Greater Boston Walk. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about going virtual. We know that going virtual isn't always ideal and that there can always be some challenges associated with going virtual, but there are some great benefits that go along with going virtual. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of those benefits. One of them is convenience. So you have the opportunity to be able to host your event at any time, any day that works best for you and your supporters. I think that also during this time, people also have less distractions and more availability. So it's more convenient for them to be able to participate and have the time and convenience to be able to get involved and support you and the cause. Another great benefit to going virtual is cost. With an in-person event, there can be a lot of costs that are associated with that event. There could be rental fees, food, entertainment, etc. So with a virtual event, there are very minimal costs, if any. So that means that with less costs, more money is going towards your fundraising efforts and the mission. Another great benefit to virtual events is that you are able to reach a much wider audience. So people that may not have been able to participate or attend due to geography or conflicts like work or childcare issues, they can now attend. They can now be there to support you because it's virtually a virtual event. It's literally a click away versus having to actually attend an event in person. Another great benefit is having an authentic connection. This is something else that is a benefit of going virtual. So you have the opportunity to really connect with your attendees, connecting one-on-one. I know since this pandemic has started, there just seems to be a lot more connection happening with people, even though we're not able to be together as one. And those attendees that are being there virtually to support you, they're really showing their support for you and the cause. And then one of the last benefits that we want to highlight is an easy and streamlined logistics. So as I mentioned earlier, an in-person event that can involve a lot of logistics, which can be costly and overwhelming. But a virtual event really kind of minimizes that. That takes that right out of the equation. So it's a lot easier to be able to organize and pull off. So those are just some of the great benefits that go along with having a virtual event. And now I'd like to introduce Astrid Hendren, who is the walk manager for our Neponset Valley Walk in Foxborough and our South Coast Walk in Fall River.
Thank you, Melissa. It's really nice of you. And Katie, I see you moving a lot and you want to do a little dance again. Is that it? You're very excited. We love it. We need that. And you have to bring excitement to a virtual fundraising event. Otherwise, you might as well not get started. It's really important to shift your focus and think about, your goals. And with that, I would say, think about the mission. If you have a virtual event that you're trying to plan, keep remembering that the mission of our organization has not changed. We are trying to advocate, educate, and find a cure. So when you are making your plan for a virtual fundraiser, think through how much money is really your goal to fundraise. Do you want to do a fundraiser that's going to bring you $100 to your page, or $1,000, or maybe even $10,000? And it really all depends on how you organize it, and that kind of follows through. So you also should really consider how much time do you have to prepare for it. Some of my committee members have spent a lot of time and a lot of investment on helping out with this initiative. So we're really grateful for that. But when you're doing your own virtual fundraiser, you might want to think through that. Do you have 10 minutes, which means you basically put an invitation together and you get it out there and you hope you see what you get? Or do you have hours to plan, a virtual painting party where people need to get their paint first, things like that. So that's really important in your planning stage. Also important is, who are you going to invite? There are different groups that could bring you different kinds of money. If you are inviting a large group, that could be a very different platform, of course, but it could also be a very different feel to the fundraiser. If you have a small crowd, just your family, or if it's maybe a crowd from, your employees at work. I imagine if you work at a bank and you invite all your fellow employees, you might be doing something very different. So those are all really important things to consider up front, and maybe even put on paper so you start to actually understand what you're trying to organize. So if you can go to the next slide, Katie, when you have those questions answered, and let's just grab one. If you say, I want to raise $1,000, right? And you now know I want to target my fellow employees. Now you're going to think through what would make sense in terms of timing. Because you could do something in the morning, you could do obviously at noon, you could do it at night and the weekend, but those all look very different. Because when you consider that most people, if you're fortunate enough, you are, employed, and that means that you will probably in front of your computer many hours of the day already. So think about that crowd that you're inviting and what their day looks like, because at the end of the day, or maybe in the weekend, that might be something that they really look forward to, that virtual fundraiser. And ideally, that's how you're going to raise more money if they're looking forward to it. So another piece of that is what makes your event unique. I don't know about all of you, but I've been invited to so many of these virtual get-togethers, support groups, and even I'm from the Netherlands, so people in Holland are trying to get together virtually, and it's lovely. I mean, especially when I have my glass of wine with me that I can celebrate at night. But after work, it's hard to get back on the phone, as you all know, because you're on it tonight, and we appreciate that. So think about ahead of time what makes your event unique. Do you want it to be funny, like we're trying to do here? But not really, because it comes natural to us, right? We are just funny people. Otherwise, you wouldn't be an event manager, right? But at the same time, you could also decide that this event has to be very meaningful. If you are doing this with your peers at work, it may actually be really sensible to make it a very personal event where people can share a story. Because what we do know about Alzheimer's is almost every single person has been touched by somebody who has had Alzheimer's or dementia. So this may be an opportunity for you to bring people together and to really share those stories, and not so much posting it, but to really in a smaller group and having a fundraiser attached to it where people feel it has meaning and purpose, and you can reiterate that it has a mission. So you also have to consider what kind of platform you use for that. As I said earlier, Zoom, Google, maybe a Facebook Live. There are lots of different platforms. And as Katie mentioned, we will have a virtual coach for you. So that's really going to make a big difference in execution. Of course, as walk managers, we're all available to help you out. But just to think through that. If you can give me the next slide, Katie. There's just a couple more tips. I mean, you all have seen ideas for virtual fundraising, but we're just trying to add some tonight. We've got great resources on our website as well. But think about if you're doing a morning virtual fundraising, you could do something completely different, like a pajama party or, a virtual flea market. Think about it. You could have people drop off stuff and put a price tag on it and have people, then be there with your Facebook Live, have people bid on it. An evening party could be something like a fashion show or even story time. Spooky stories could be a really fun one. If it is a lunch, a lot of people have dogs that have not really been part of, our walk to date, but it will be again because oh, somebody's trying to join the meeting. I'm sorry for the interruption there. So during lunch, you could do something with a dog dress-up contest where people could award like a best in dog show. You could talk about the movie and things like that. During the weekend, and I'm sitting here in my promised garden because it's my hobby to garden, I'm thinking you could have a call-in hour with a donation where people could ask for garden advice. Among your peer group, I'm sure there's some expert or maybe somebody who's a fitness expert who could give advice, like if people call in with a donation. So lots of ideas we can offer you, but we also have resources online. I'm going to show you there's one more thing, and I see Mary Federico is on the line, which is actually, Katie referred to that. We have one of our committee members on the line who did this fantastic fundraiser where she is making face masks with a logo of the Alzheimer's Association on it with 3 different purple imprints, and she's selling them for $15 a piece. So you consider that is 100% of that donation, right? Yeah, we should actually ring the cowbell for that. She's done very well. We made a wonderful videotape of it, and we thank her so much. But those are the kind of ideas, you think about it, $15, and Mary works hard to make those, but it's really fun because people that buy them use them all the time, so it spreads the news, it helps awareness as well. So all those things are important. If you can go to the next slide, I think that is the takeaway of my portion of this, is that when you invite people to your virtual fundraiser, you want to have the invitation speak for itself. You really want people to see that invitation in their email box, and it's going to jump out as something they want to join. And whether it's personal to you, like my pictures here of my little dog, I have 4 dogs, but the little dog dressed up, or my garden, people will know that that's going to be why they're joining. So make sure your invitation speaks. And if that's all you do and people will join, you've done your job. So thank you for joining. I'm going to turn it over to Maria, who is the manager of Manchester, Portsmouth, and Upper Valley. Thank you.
Maria, you're still on mute. You were just checking to make sure that we were paying attention, and girl, we are so paying attention. We're hanging on your every word.
It was a test, for sure. It was a test. Thank you so much, Astrid. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria. I'm one of the walk managers from New Hampshire. I run the Portsmouth and Manchester walks, as well as the Upper Valley walk, right on the Vermont border. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how to engage our corporate partners and our corporate teams when it comes to virtual fundraising. I know that right now with corporate teams, it can be really hard. Some of them aren't necessarily at work and they're working remotely and not seeing their employee base every day. So it gets really hard to keep everyone engaged and get them rallied behind something. So when they partner with a nonprofit, it's a great way for them to engage their employees, get some excitement generated about a good cause, and be able to bring everyone together to rally around a great cause. Can you go to the next slide, Katie? So some things that corporate teams can do, which really bring people together, is maybe a dress down day on a Zoom meeting. Zoom is the new normal, the new virtual world that we're living in right now. And you know what? Let's make it fun. So if we're all going to be on a screen and we're going to be seeing each other virtually, why not put some fun behind it, like our lovely MC Katie is doing with her outfit right now that she's showing off. You could do something like a dress down day, or even better, a show your purple day. So you could have all of the employees wear their purple one day, even if it was costumes like Katie's doing, and that way you can have a best in costume, or you can have a prize set up for the person with the most excitement. You could also do a show your purple remote workspace. So with everyone working from home right now, we've really tried to set up our own little areas so that we're comfortable and we're doing everything in the comfort of our own homes. But why not dress it up a little bit? So companies can definitely do a contest with their employees to show off their purple workspace, put up promise garden flowers from years past, or put up your walk shirt, or anything you want to do to make the space you're working in super exciting and engaging, and show it off to your fellow employees. One other thing you can do, which really gets people ready to walk and move our mission forward this fall, could be a steps or a walk challenge. You could track your steps and compete against your fellow employees to see who gets the most steps in a week or a month or even 2 months, whatever you want to do, whatever the length you want it to be. But it's super easy, really easy way to have some light competition, low stress challenges at work, and it's a great way to get everybody engaged for a great cause. Can I have the next slide? Perfect. So some really easy virtual fundraisers to coordinate. You can do a virtual bake sale. I know one of my committee members for Manchester is doing this. They're posting pictures of all the available treats and goodies that they made on a website. And then they're doing curbside contactless pickup to make sure everybody's safe and making sure that we are being as responsible as possible. So I know that they raised over $1,000 with their bake sale, which is huge, even for an in-person bake sale. So that's one thing you could do. Also, another great thing you could do would be a virtual open mic night or a talent show. Get your family and friends together. You can have them sing or dance like Katie's doing for us. And you can have them all show off their best talent in front of all of your family and friends. Something else that's great, and it was mentioned at the beginning of this webinar a little bit, is social media fundraising. It's so easy to just post it on your Facebook or do a Facebook Live. You can even partner with different companies to help you do a Facebook Live. But social media fundraising is the future, it's the now, and it's an amazing way to do peer-to-peer fundraising. So just so everyone knows, we did also have a webinar last week on how to effectively virtually fundraise on social media. So I'm going to put the link into the chat if anybody wants to check that out. And then we will also email that out at the end of this. So you have the link to this webinar and that one as well. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Katie.
Thank you so much, All Stars. This is really exciting because we know that this isn't easy. And so we also want to make sure that we are providing you with all of the resources that we have to be able to help make this as easy as possible on you. So we have a virtual fundraising guide that will be available in the chat, and it will also be embedded in the slides when you receive this. And it's really going to give you some really great ideas if you're kind of struggling for a direction of where to go and you haven't really found something that you really like or that you've settled on. Check out this guide because you might find some really great stuff on there. And then also, once you find an idea that you're excited about, maybe you're struggling with a couple of things that you're just not really sure what the next step should be, we highly recommend that you reach out to us for access to that one-on-one time with a virtual coach. So as Maria mentioned in the chat, send us your name. Thank you, Mary. Astrid's gonna set you up. You're gonna be our first virtual coachee. We are so excited. So if you are also somebody who wants to access a virtual coach who is local to your specific walk, that will help you personally overcome some of the customary challenges for your event specifically, this is going to be the best resource that you have. So we also wanted to make sure that we pointed out that the webinar that Maria mentioned that took place last week, there was a story about somebody who's done this really, really well. So if you want to see an example of somebody who's taken an event that used to take place in person and transferred it to something that was amazing and virtual, you definitely want to check out that webinar. And then the catch-all for all of our virtual resources is Walk Central. And Maria is also going to put that in the chat. There it is. Man, that girl is on top of things. We love this. Purple power. So we're going to have lots of resources on Walk Central as well that you can access. And it will also be embedded in this slide that's going to be emailed to you later. So now we want to open it up for some questions. Do you have some specific questions? We have a few minutes left. What can we do to help answer some of those questions for you tonight? Feel free to unmute your line and ask your question. Or also put it in the chat. That's great too. So I see that Claudette would like to know, is asking Mary if she's the one that made the masks. So Mary, if you're comfortable and you'd like to unmute your line and tell us a little bit about that, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, I did make them myself, right here in the sewing room that I'm in right now. And so, yes, and Astrid helped me with finding out how to purchase the stamp to put the logo on it. So yes, and currently I'm making, I don't know where they are, but I'm going to make, this is just an example of just the background. It'll be either for like a hot plate or a bottle opener, because on the back I'm going to put the sticky stuff. I can't think of what it's called. Not contact paper, but so this is exciting because now, Astrid, you can help me get a Google something so I can get started to really promote more.
That is excellent use of your virtual coach, Mary.
Yes.
Yes, we're gonna make her go viral.
All right.
Astrid has helped me a lot.
Well, you're an awesome committee member, and we need more of you. And Linda's on this call as well. Linda is one of my committee members in the Neponset Valley. Thank all of you for on the call that are committee members or non-committee members or maybe future committee members. But this is a good cause. We're all in the same on the same page, and I just appreciate everybody taking the time out to listen to this. And we're here to help.
Absolutely.
We really are. We know that it can definitely be challenging. So if anyone needs us, we are always here to support you in any way we can.
Thank you. Are we?
Oh, Katie, we've got a question that came in. Is there a way to get bandanas to use as fabric for masks?
Yes. If you go to Shop for a Cause, Maria, can you pull that link? Do you have that handy to be able to dump that in the chat?
Yes.
There is an excellent shop that is put together by our home office that has all kinds of things, including the lovely mask that you see that I'm wearing. Although I guarantee you it is not nearly as great as the ones that Mary are making. But it's gonna, these Maine winters up here, I am gonna really love this in January or October when it is super cold and we are walking. So I highly recommend checking these out on Shop. They're fairly inexpensive and they have the wonderful logo. And I think that I'm gonna mess up my hair, but it's okay. We're almost done. I think that you could probably get quite a few masks out of this, Mary. I don't know how you do it, but I think that you could get quite a few out of just one of them. So that is certainly an excellent place to go and an excellent question, Claudette. Now we are right up against 7:30, so I want to make sure that we have a chance for anybody to ask any questions. So go ahead and dump them in the chat and we'll stay on for a bit. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. It means so much to all of us that you guys continue to support this cause that is as meaningful as ever amid all of these challenges with the pandemic and all of the other things that are going on in people's lives. So thank you from the bottom of our purple hearts for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Karen will email it to everybody.
I was trying to play the song once more, but it's not happening. I don't know what's going on. It was a good thing that didn't happen to start with.
All right, everyone, I'm going to stop recording just so you all know as well. But we will stay on for a minute if you do have more questions as well.
Oh, now it's starting.